Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have a Canadian Taste Challenge, Canadian whiskey. We have Canadian whiskey coming for the rest of this month, I do believe, the rest of the month. So many Canadian whiskeys I have. Well, this is from 1968, and it's called the Northern Lights. It'll usually run you about $9.99 for a bottle. There's the leaf with the Northern Lights. The Northern Lights. Oh, man. Introduced by Glenmore Distilling in 1968. Passed through different ownership. Now it's bottled by Barton Brands in Louisville, Kentucky, and Barton Brands is owned by Sazerac Company, which is headquartered in New Orleans, by the way. Now, going on and on till the break of dawn, which should be happening soon, we have here at 5:36 a.m. Central Standard Time, Canadian Club Small Batch Classic 12, the whiskey with the longest name. It's Canadian Club Small Batch Blended Canadian Whiskey Classic 12, aged 12 years. Thank you, John Anille, for this bottle. He gave this to me as a gift in 2018. Hand-selected, fully matured Canadian Club whiskey, patiently aged for 12 years and for superior quality and character. Batch number C12-30. Got this nice square bottle. I won't read you the whole essay on the side. Bottled in Illinois. By Beam-Suntory. I need to update my info. So they're both bottled in the United States. One in Illinois and then the other one across the river in Kentucky. Kentucky, no. Beer Baron, 1920 Beer Baron. I don't drink the strong stuff, but enjoy your streaming when I can watch. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Well, I'm not a big liquor drinker, and the people are laughing. Ha, ha, ha. Sure, you do taste challenges all the time. It's true, I do taste challenges, and let's focus on taste, the word taste. Really, I'm like the Beer Baron, just drink beer most of the time. About 3 ounces of wine each day. That's my fruit juice because I can't stand drinking fruit juice. I like to taste these things and do the challenges, and I'll do one solo review taste. My friend David might say, let's taste something. Okay, but to be a regular drinker, like you watch old episodes of Maude, her and Walter come home, they're always drinking something. Mixed drink. No, I don't do that, but you never see Maude and Walter drinking beer, do you? No. All right. Got to make sure I got my tags correct. NL, Northern Lights. Do I think it's going to be a real challenge today? No, it isn't. The Northern Lights has been very good. It has performed above its pay level. $9.99, but it's performing like it's about $17, $18.99. Something like that. It's well done. What flavorings did it add? I do not know. I remember reading the Canadian guidelines, which they don't really show anymore, but they used to. I should have copied and pasted it in my blog called Alcohol Brands, but I didn't think they were going to take it down. But it was saying it's got to be whiskey, right? Made in Canada, aged at least 3 years. They can age it before they blend it. They can age it after they blend it. That doesn't matter, but it has to be aged in wooden barrels for at least 3 years. It may be flavored with rum or brandy or bourbon or wine. That has to be aged in small wood. Any combination of those. And it doesn't have to be flavored with those. That's just an option. And they can add rye, barley malt, rye whiskey, barley whiskey. They use mainly corn spirit as their base. Okay, so Canadian whiskey is very versatile. It's known to be that way, versatile. Some people say it's smooth. Others say it's kind of bland. They can be bland, but I find that they don't have off flavors or weird, strange flavors. Like American blended whiskeys can be really strange, or as they would say in England, dodgy. Michael Hernandez, where do you stay if you don't mind? I stay at my house in Louisiana, in St. John the Baptist Parish. Okay, so there's the Northern Lights. And you can easily find it at Walmart. If I get on their website, it'll tell me the price, $15.99 for the big bottle, and it'll tell you how many are left. 3 on the shelf, whatever. Okay, this one is corked, but it's a rubberized cork. It's not real cork. It's rubber. Canadian Club. There's the Crown, the Queen of Canada, Elizabeth II. There's the Maple Leaf, the National Leaf. There's the Lions, all of that stuff. Okay. Is Canadian whiskey allowed to be colored with like caramel color? Yes. Just like American whiskey can be colored with caramel color, as well as Irish whiskey and Scotch whiskey. You say, well, that's kind of like cheating. You're making it look darker than it is. Exactly. Like Coca-Cola. And so many foods. They want the eye appeal, you dig. What about bourbon? Can it be colored? No, only blended bourbon can be colored. Straight bourbon or just bourbon. So there's bourbon and straight bourbon cannot have color or flavors added to it. But all the rest of the whiskeys, pretty much it's open season on that. I mean, straight corn whiskey has some quality. Can't have it. All right. Anyway, look at the colors. You can make a movie about this called Colors. Now, that is so dark, so chestnut brown. Do they add color? They might, because even 12 years in a barrel may not get that dark. Because remember, they're using old Jim Beam barrels. You run the whiskey through the barrel the first time, it sucks all that color out the charcoal. The second time, it's much lighter, like a tea bag. So this is one thing you have to think of. Now, I was going to post a link below in the description of the Canadian Club's website. The website is down. They might be reworking on it, reformatting it. I did put a link to the Beam-Suntory, and they're saying you can click there. But if you click there right now, I don't think anything's going to happen. But at least I got Beam-Suntory, and you can access it if you care to look at. I didn't check the Canadian Club Canadian website, but I figure it's probably down too. They're probably reformatting. There's amber, right? So gold, amber, and just straight up chestnut brown. So, I have to be very careful that I don't look, because the appearance would give it away too sweet, And then the taste challenge wouldn't be much of a challenge, because I'd be seeing which is which. But it isn't going to be a challenge anyway, because the Canadian Club small batch, 12-year age, and there's a Canadian Club straight rye, which I'd like to get. It may not be straight rye, but it's predominantly rye whiskey. I'd have to check out the statement. There's Canadian Club flavored whiskey. They have maple syrup and cinnamon and all that. Everybody's got those things. Everybody's got that. Then there's the basic Canadian Club 1858, which I like, even though it's only aged 5 years now. Used to be 6, but they dropped it. Used to be higher proof too, like 86.6. Now it's 80. I still like it. Are there other Canadian Club variants? More than likely, yes, because if you notice, most of these liquor companies have their portfolio, except for Sazerac right now, which isn't showing anything for the last year. And then they have all the other stuff they don't show you, but it still exists. I don't know why they do that. It seems to me you'd want to show everything you make. You wouldn't want to have all these hidden brands. But they got them, boy. They definitely have hidden brands. Early Times. Get on the Early Times website. I bet you all day you'll never see Early Times bottled in bond, 100 proof, but it's there. I see it on the shelf at Dornax every time I go. $24. Okay. I think I know already. This has got to be the Northern Lights. Why? The flavor is not too pronounced or rich. The Canadian Club is so bold. What do I get on this? A lot of corn, maize, corn grits. Now, you might say, I bet you there wouldn't be as much corn liquor if the U.S. government didn't subsidize corn. You're probably right. There wouldn't be ethanol in the gasoline either. Do I support government subsidies of corn? No, I don't. And in fact, I'd like to know where in the Constitution it says the government is authorized to subsidize corn. Find that in there. We'll have a great discussion. You find where the government's authorized to give special interests money. You say special interests? Yeah. Corn producers. I bet you'll never find it. But if you want to come on and take the chance, you can come on live for 30 minutes. I'll give you 30 minutes to make your argument. But be prepared to lose. I'm just saying that's all, the offer's there. You got it if you want it. We were talking on Facebook yesterday. They were saying, well, Obama didn't follow the Constitution sometimes. I'm talking about Trump. They bringing up Obama. I said, I didn't say anything. I don't argue with that kind of thinking, really, because it's like when I used to teach school, I'd say, you need to be quiet. You're talking. Well, she's talking. Now, I wasn't talking about her. I'm talking about you. Okay. And mankind has been that way since day one, since the fall of man. Look in the Garden of Eden. God asked Adam, did you eat the fruit that I told you not to eat? And the first thing Adam says, well, the woman you gave me gave it to me to eat. See, people always like to pass the blame, pass the buck. The woman, her, that you gave me. In other words, implication that I was doing fine till you gave me this woman. Blaming other people. Oh, man. So back to the whiskey, which is, but yeah, we like to talk about the Constitution on this channel. A document most people are not familiar with, actually. Okay, I can open my eyes. This is clearly the Canadian Club small batch 12-year aged. Is Sazerac a mystery? No. It's a company with a website. They have their own headquarters, Sazerac House on Magazine Street and Canal Street, New Orleans, on the corner. You can go take a tour there. It doesn't cost any money. And beyond that, besides that, they give free samples. And their tours are free in Virginia, the two in Kentucky. I don't know about Maine, if Maine gives a tour, or Canada. But they're mysterious. The company is mysterious, secretive, but they're not a mystery. Whoa. Now the taste part. Taxation is theft, says Joe Biden. Well, that's sort of a Marxist thinking. What I mean by that, that's a libertarian, and a lot of libertarianism has a Marxist-Leninist ideology embedded in it, mainly due to infiltration by Marxist-Leninist communists. A government is a necessary evil, Thomas Jefferson said. A necessary evil in the sense that you have to have it, so they don't operate without taxes. They have to have taxes. It's not necessarily theft, because then you would be saying that government itself is evil, which means you would be saying that God is evil and creation is evil, because remember, God authorizes government and calls leaders his lieutenants on earth. And in fact, God authorizes monarchies, which people in America don't like to hear that because of their training, their conditioning, let's call it. Now, excessive taxation for frivolous and unconstitutional reasons, you could argue, is theft. We're not going to argue that. It would be criminal. For instance, taxing me to give to a corn lobby would be theft in a practical sense, because the corn lobby should take care of itself, not have the taxpayer subsidize it. So I would agree with that in a particular sense, but not in a general sense. Okay, so the the Northern Lights taste like corn liquor, really. And then you got these nice little flavors. There's a little bite to it, but these things are all levels of harshness, you see. You get the almond extract, a lot of corn liquor, rye, definitely rye spice. So the Northern Lights is a pretty well-rounded Canadian whiskey, and you get all your calling card characteristics of Canadian whiskey. A lot of corn, sweetness. Think of yellow corn grits, yellow corn, whole kernel corn, sweet corn. You got your barley, which is that bready dough, and then you got your rye spice. And then you got your underlying flavors here, maybe almond extract, a little of that. That's not overdone. Rum, some brandy maybe, and I think cream sherry, but I couldn't ever back that up. I mean, Sazerac isn't going to tell you. Now, the 12-year, Canadian Club 12-year. Now, I know you might say rinse your mouth because it's going to get confused. Well, yes, but not in this sense because they're so unlike one another, you couldn't get confused. This has such a deep, rich, and abiding wood character and charcoal character. It does still, they must use a super heavy char. So they must be having a one-time use bourbon barrel in their it's got an alligator char. They use it once for, I don't know, some kind of Jim Beam Black or whatever that is. And then they're sending it up there to Canada. And they're aging the Canadian Club in there for 12 years. Now, if they're using alligator char for 12 years, you would pick up this heavy, smoky taste. Charred oak. Caramel. Candy, like a Werther's Original Riesling. Rye, yes. Sweet corn, yep. Bready dough from barley malt, yes. All those things. Is it worth the $24.99? I would say so. Is it the best Canadian whiskey I've ever had? Definitely. My friend David tried it, and he's the pickiest person I've ever met. And he loved it. He was saying, yeah, this is like bourbon. It is in many ways. Kind of like a Canadian version of bourbon. You can make bourbon in Canada, but you just can't call it bourbon. You see, you can make it in Canada. Just can't call it bourbon legally. It's like you can make a cognac, but you got to call it brandy. Because what is brandy? Cognac. What is cognac? Brandy made in Cognac, France. So some of those are like appellation designations, and Appalachian is like the wine region, like New York, Southern California, things like that. Now, which one's better? Obviously, the Canadian Club 12-year. Would you have great success with the Northern Lights, $9.99 a bottle? Or $15.99 if you want to get more per ounce. You'd have great success. I see nothing wrong with it. It does rival Canadian Club, the standard, 1858. It rivals Crown Royal from the times I tasted Crown Royal. I haven't had really enough experience with Crown Royal, but I plan to later this year. Could it hang with those? Yes. Could it hang with Canadian Mist? Well, it beats Canadian Mist. Canadian Mist is so dang dull. Nothing bad about it. It's just nothing to it. It's sort of like air, like, you know, it's like clean air. It doesn't have much character. Okay. I'm trying to think. Well, those premium standard grade Canadian whiskeys, this will be right there with them. So why would you want to pay for Crown Royal? You say, oh, I got a bottle for only $23.99. It's a good deal. Sometimes you see it for $22.99 though at Walmart. But why not just get the Northern Lights? You can buy a huge bottle for $15.99. And oh yeah, I was thinking of Seagram's VO, another premium Canadian. Yeah, this rivals Seagram's VO. Doesn't quite match up to it though, because Seagram's VO has a really distinct wood flavor, and it tastes like it's aged longer than 3 years, maybe like 5 or 6. So this doesn't quite match up to VO. But then, of course, you could save $4 because the VO is going to cost you $19.99 for the big jug bottle, and this will cost you $15.99. So it'd be a slight trade-off. You get $4 less. You know, you pay $4 less, but you would only have a small drop-off in quality. Now this, obviously, you're going to have a massive drop-off in quality. You got to pay the $24.99 to get this. I mean, otherwise you're wasting your time. You're not going to get to this level being value conscious. Okay, I mean, a lot of the brands I've been showing on this channel are value brands. Windsor Canadian, Canadian Limited, Rich and Rare, Canadian Leaf, Canadian Mist. Well, so many. They're fine. I enjoy them, but they're not to this level. You got to pay up. You know, you got to. You can't get a Mustang and then say, "Well, I want GT performance." Where you didn't buy a GT, you bought the regular Mustang. You want a GT, you got to pay for it. It's going to cost you a whole lot more. Well, you say, well, only a fool would think otherwise. Exactly. And only a fool would think this could happen for $15.99. It won't. Not to my experience. What about Rich and Rare Reserve? That's an above premium product. Okay. It's really just a premium product. It's nice. I like Rich and Rare Reserve, not up to this level. What about VO Gold? VO Gold. You can get that sometimes $22.99. Now that's getting close. All right. VO Gold, which the company told me was discontinued, but they've got so much backstock aging for 8 years that maybe be able to get it for 10 years till 2027. That's close. VO Gold is close to this. It isn't there. It isn't there, but it's close. But then so is the price. So that's kind of like a meaningless statement. Now, what about those Crown Royal above, ticks above? I don't know. I've never tried the Bourbon Mash Crown Royal. I've barely tried Crown Royal. I haven't tried the XO, the XL, the Exploding Plastic Inevitable, the the Disco Duck, whatever they have, all those. I'm sure those are really dynamite, but you might have to pay $89, rightfully so. Mighty fine. What's that wood? Even a sweet lemon taste. No, not lemon, orange peel, sorry. What are the downsides to the Canadian Club special small batch? There are no downsides. It's nearly perfect. What makes it a small batch? Well, Sazerac, their representative, told me that small batch only means it's smaller than the normal batch. In other words, it doesn't mean much. It's like, well, we make this much Canadian Club, so if we make this much, then it's a small batch. She said, but yeah, it usually is a smaller batch because it's not going to sell as much as the flagship. So you don't want to make too much and then you're stuck with it, and you got this upcharge, and people are passing it by. Of course, so. But that's all small batch means, just less than the big batch, and there's no numerical limit on it. She said there's no limit. It could be a huge amount as long as it's smaller than the regular amount. You say, well, it could be an ounce smaller. Yeah, but I mean, it's not going to be. It's going to be a lot less production. Could there be a Northern Lights small batch or a Northern Lights specialty? There probably is. I might go somewhere and say, whoa, Northern Lights rye. I mean, these things will pop up. They will pop up. Okay, so anyway, to close this out, Canadian Club 12-year small batch is clearly the winner. And I'm really enjoying it. And what a great gift from John Neely. Thanks so much. Tuesday, I'm planning to go up against, Windsor Canadian. Another Beam-Suntory brand, which they don't bother putting on their website anymore for some bizarre reason. All right, so get ready for Windsor Canadian versus the Northern Lights. Small batch is an entirely subjective term. It's all about marketing, says Joe Biden's country. Exactly. That's only what it's about.